All right. Looks like I ought to be live here. I'll just make sure it pops up on the. So we should be good to go. Okay. Uh, so for this stream, I'm just going to be talking about some of the stuff that's been happening with the cabinet picks for the Trump administration, and so far, it's it's been looking pretty good for the most part. There were some worrying signs, I guess, at first with just the way things were shaping up and kind of the people that were surrounding Trump and supposedly informing him about who to pick and stuff. Some crazy people. He surrounded himself with like a band of just lunatics, clowns. You've got like Vivek Ramaswamy and who else? Elon, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, his kids, Don Jr., these people. And there was this big thing where they're like, we're not going to have any fucking neocons, no warmongers in this administration. Not going to happen this time. And they put out the statement, we're not going to have Pompeo and Nikki Haley in there. And so far, it actually doesn't look too bad, given all of that, because that was pretty concerning. Like when he's got, Tulsi Gabbard and RFK hanging around, and for these people, a neocon is literally just like, I really don't even know what the fuck it means actually at this point. I really don't. Like establishment, I guess that's what it means. Like establishment, maybe something to do with foreign policy. Like, I guess the war in Ukraine, anyone that's I think it's anyone that has expressed support for Ukraine or has been critical of Donald Trump in any way at all. I think that's it. Except like some of these people, I don't know. I'll get into it. So you've got like Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. It's pretty good. All things considered, that's, not nearly as bad as it could have been. That's pretty damn good. Rubio is great when it comes to Israel. Perfect. Most of these people, and we kind of figured this would be, Trump himself is pretty good when it comes to Israel. Hawkish on China. He's based when it comes to the Iran question. He's even good on Ukraine for the most part, especially at the beginning of the war. He was all for, like, we got to do everything we got to do. He fucking hates Russia. So he's got all that going for him. There are, he kind of waffled some on Ukraine just because all these people kind of had to waffle a little on Ukraine just to get their foot in the door. I don't even think they'd be there if they haven't waffled a little bit on it. But I think all of them, the people I'm about to talk about, are mostly actually pretty good on Ukraine. Now, like, none of them voted for the last funding bill for Ukraine. They were against it. However, I am less worried about that because I don't think that would have happened under a Republican administration. I don't think they would have done it. Because there was also funding in that bill for Israel. So they voted against that. And all of these people like love Israel. So there's no way it was just about that. What it was about was the border. They wanted funding for the border and they were getting nothing. And, they were like appropriating money for other stuff. And they're like, let's just give us some for this. And they wouldn't do it. And so since there was no negotiation at all, they just refused to vote for it. So there is that. But Rubio overall, I think, is a great pick. And I think it sets him up, hopefully, to like take the party back on the right track, maybe. If he could be the future instead of, JD Vance, that would be a good thing. And then who else do we got? Elise Stefanik, she's the UN ambassador of the UN, which isn't that important, but she gets to go into the UN and like yell at dictators and terrorist supporters and all of this. And so that's nice. It's nice to at least like put the messaging and the rhetoric of, the United States out there as being, we are pro-Israel. We do hate your guts if you're like a dictatorial evil bastard. And we are better than you. America is a better country than yours. Suck on it. And so I think it's good to have someone like her. And she's basically the same. Like the stuff I said about Rubio, it could be mostly the same. I'm not like crazy about her. I don't know as much about her. Not as much of a record to go on there. She's definitely good on Israel. And she really beat up like a bunch of the what was it, the Ivy League Ivy League presidents of the universities for letting their campuses get taken over by, Hamas supporters. So she was good on that. So I imagine she'll be pretty good at the UN. Now, yeah, I'll say, none of these people are like over the moon, like the best case scenario, like they're just amazing, it's a dream come true, or anything like that. But it feels like that given what was on the table, or supposedly might have been on the table. And who was the third big one? Oh, the National Security Advisor. You got Mike Walls, which he seems pretty good too. And it's the same thing. He, I guess, didn't support that bill. He said, no blank checks to Ukraine, whatever that means. But he's also said that he wants to take the reins off, wants to take the leash off of Ukraine and let them strike further into Russia. And so I don't know. I feel like there might be this mix going into there where it's like a lot of these people I'm talking about right now, I think their thing is they do want the war to end, but they want to give Ukraine the best shot possible. Now, maybe they think it's too late at this point and it's already a stalemate. I don't know. It would be different had this happened much more recently, but it is where it is. I feel like a lot of them would want, if they could get Trump and the other people to do it, to let the Ukrainians go, give them some funding, maybe pressure the Europeans to ramp up their support a little more, and let the Ukrainians really just like hit Russia in the nuts. Now, I don't know, like the people around Trump right now, damn sure would not want that to happen. They just want it to end just right now, draw the line where it is, and just stop the fighting. I think that's what a lot of the people Trump listens to want, but at least the three people I just talked about, I don't think any of them would be happy with that. I don't know about Stefanik. I'm not as sure about her when it comes to Ukraine. And then the other stuff Wall said, that guy, there was a video, I've had a couple of videos on him, one from a while back at CPAC where he was saying we should have stayed in Afghanistan basically forever, which is, based. That's what I was saying. And then you had, what was the other thing? Iran. He was basically saying, yeah, if Iran is about to get a nuclear bomb, we should go attack them. It would be worth like attacking them to stop that. So I think his head's in the right place. I think he's good. He's, it's a lot better. It's a lot better than Tulsi Gabbard. It could have been a lot worse. So we still don't know who the Secretary of Defense is going to be. And there were some other picks too. You had, what was the EPA guy? Lee Zeldin. And who were some of these other people? I already talked about the chief of staff before. And I don't know. You had, I have Mike Huckabee, I guess, is the ambassador to Israel. So he's a huge Israel supporter. So I guess that's cool. CIA director, John Ratcliffe. So that guy, he was in the Trump administration before. I think he was not the CIA director. He was like director of intelligence or something like that. I don't know. But from what I understand, he's just a giant like Trump loyalist. Like he will do anything, even if it's kind of sketchy, if Trump wants him to. So that's a little bit like, I don't know how to feel about that guy. I don't know as much about him, but I think he was like defending Trump. Like he wanted to he was defending Trump in the classified documents thing. If this is the guy I'm thinking about, and he was trying to argue that like, oh, no. Trump actually just, he had like declassified all of that stuff right before he got out. It seemed like he was just bullshitting to try and like get Trump off the hook. And I think he was also, there was some other shit he was doing, like trying to get other things declassified to go after other people. I don't really know. He just seems like a giant Trump loyalist. I don't know much else about him. But overall, it's looking pretty good. Now, we don't know who the Secretary of Defense is going to be, which is kind of a big one, that and the Attorney General are probably the two big ones that are still out there. Oh, yeah, we had Homeland Security. We had Kristi Noem, which was kind of a stupid pick. I have no idea. Like I said on Twitter, she should have been the Secretary of the Interior, which is like, the person that is in charge of like the national parks and stuff. I don't know why he would pick her. She doesn't come from a border state. South Dakota, I'm pretty sure. South Dakota governor. She's kind of stupid is kind of what the vibe I got off of her. She's very like MAGA dumb person kind of thing. So I don't know. I guess she's very like in favor of securing the border, but I don't know that she has any experience with anything like that. I mean, I guess you're a governor, so you have some level of uh, emergency management experience at least. So this is also the person, they'd be in charge of FEMA and all this other stuff. Homeland Security is a really broad kind of a category. A lot of people tend to think it's just like the border control person, but it's border control, it's FEMA, it's the TSA, the Coast Guard. It's a lot of shit. So um, I don't know about that one, but she does have that other guy I talked about. What was his name? Tom Homan. I can never say it. I can't remember that guy's name because it's such a weird. It's the guy who blew up. I talked about him before. I'm gonna say Homan. I don't fucking remember. The guy that's like crazy, wants to deport like everybody in the country, probably including us. I don't know. He's I think he's good for what you're getting him for. If you want someone to be hardcore and secure the border and fix the mess that Joe Biden created, that's the guy you want. He's the guy that video went around where he's like having an argument with AOC. So he's probably pretty good. And I don't know. He's the border czar. So I guess he's going to have to work with Kristi Noem. I don't know how that's supposed to work out when she's. Maybe he's like the deportation czar and she's like, still in charge of border security. I don't know exactly. She seemed like a stupid pig. But basically all the rest of them seem either like good to I'd say great. I'd say Marco Rubio is a pretty great pick. It might just be because of all the fucking like speculation about what could have been. I know all the right people are angry about this. All the MAGA people are freaking out on X right now. They're losing their minds. The MAGA communist people, especially, they're losing it, saying the neocons took over. Oh God, it's all over now. Trump's just he got taken over by the neocons and the warmongers. They're all over the cabinet. The swamp wins again. Crazy. I think it's pretty good. And then the second thing I was going to talk about was the Senate leadership deal. I might have talked about that before. I don't remember. So right now they're having this kind of a fight, I guess, in the Republican, and not, I guess, in the Republican Party, but it's really over the Republican Senate Majority leadership. Who's going to be the new Senate Majority Leader? And there's the three names: John Cornyn, John Thune, and Rick Scott. And so all the MAGA guys want Rick Scott because he's like a big MAGA person himself. He's anti-establishment. He's just a giant Trump yes man. All of these guys really kind of are. None of them are anti-Trump, but they're trying to say the other two guys, Cornyn and Thune, are anti-Trump, and they're going to, work against him and all of this other stuff. I don't think that's the case. It's just that they're not gonna just check off a box on something really stupid. And I don't know how much the Senate Majority Leader matters that much anyway, because I don't know. Like, it's not like I guess they can wrangle the Senate to do whatever they want, but like individual senators can vote against what the Majority Leader says. Like, they don't have to vote exactly how he says. It's more of like, I don't know, kind of a more of a boring position, I think, than a lot of people would expect. It's about negotiating with other people and getting your own party in line and kind of like setting the schedule and things like that. I don't know how much it actually matters, but people are acting like it matters a whole hell of a lot. And I think it's kind of funny. The MAGA people are freaking out about it. They want Rick Scott. They're acting like they're getting, I don't know, slapped in the face. And this is like a routine thing that would just happen. They'd go forward. It's just the senators picking. They vote on who they want to be their leader in the Senate, in their caucus in the Senate. That's what it is. This is not like an official position in the Constitution or something. So I don't know. They're freaking out about it. And they're saying like, they're subverting our will and we're the voters and they have to pick the guy we want to pick. It's like, no, they fucking don't. Like, what are you talking about? These people have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. They're just pissed off because it's like a secret ballot is what they're a secret ballot. It's not a secret ballot. It's a private ballot. Okay. It's private because it has nothing to do. Like it's who the senators want. It's got nothing to do with you. I don't know why they're so ass mad about it. And I think part of the reason is Trump was pushing this thing where he wants he wants to be able to have recess appointments, which is sort of a weird thing to be demanding of when your own party is in charge. Like, it's weird because you should just be able to get everybody confirmed that you want, dude. Like, why would you be saying that? That's kind of like, because what the recess appointment is where you could appoint somebody if the Senate stays out of, if they're not like if they're not sitting for an appointment or whatever for a certain number of days, if they're recessed a certain number of days, I think it's 10 or something like that, or more than a week. I don't really know. Some amount of time goes by and they're in recess the whole time. He can just appoint whoever, and I guess it gets automatically approved. That's my understanding of it. And usually it only comes up if the Senate is like denying someone, if they're not going to approve someone, right? So if they're going to approve them, like, why would you care? Because this is just a way to get around Senate approval. And I think this happened like with John Bolton. That was one of the ways he got in because they didn't want to let him in. They didn't want to approve him. And so he got around that. And then there was, I don't remember who else, but I think that's the main thing. It's just bizarre. It's really bizarre. And what it makes you think is, who is he going to try to like have appointed that a Republican majority Senate is not going to want? And that's where like it's a little concerning because you do still have the Attorney General out there, right? And the Secretary of Defense. Two big ones that are still open that he hasn't said anything about. And so all of this is going to be decided tomorrow. Okay, who the Senate majority leader is going to be. And it seems like he wants this Rick Scott guy because that guy is just going to approve anybody, or they'll have a recess appointment and they can do whatever. And so all three of these guys have said, they haven't exactly said that. I mean, Scott said he will just do anything. He would suck Trump's dick if he asked him to. But the other two guys, apparently they've just said like, well, we're open to anything really. It was like non-answers. Like, we'll look at that. We're not closing any doors on anything, stuff like that. And what I'm thinking is you would only do this, I guess, for a couple of reasons. One is to just say, I just want every little snippet of loyalty I can get out of anyone. Like, I want Rick Scott because I know he's more loyal to me than these other two guys. Even if it's just by a little bit, I want that guy. Or it's like a power move. I don't know why did you do this. The weird one would be if there's someone crazy, if there's someone batshit crazy that he wants to put in there, like Tulsi Gabbard or RFK, if he wants to make RFK the Surgeon General, let's say, or Tulsi Gabbard the Secretary of Defense, or I don't know, Rudy Giuliani, the Attorney General. I don't think it would be him because he's too old. It's something crazy where even the Republicans are just like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe not Tulsi Gabbard. Like, I don't think she would get approved by Republicans or RFK or like Ken Paxton is a guy from Texas for Attorney General. I mean, but that's kind of what I'm thinking, but I don't know. It's hard to say. And, maybe it wouldn't come up. Maybe he'll decide whether or not he picks some of those people based on how this goes. It'll all be decided tomorrow. It could just be random bullshit, but it's just like, we're not even a week into this, and you're already having like this crazy little like inter-party or is it in-party fighting thing going on over the Senate majority leader. It's ridiculous. And it looks like they might even be setting up to do this again for the House Speaker. There was some rumors, at least, that they want to challenge Mike Johnson for some reason. again, go through that whole rigmarole again. What was wrong with Mike Johnson? I didn't like, why were they pissed at Kevin McCarthy of all people? That was nuts. That whole thing was stupid. These people, the MAGA people, are just a giant monkey wrench. They're a fucking joke. They just throw a monkey wrench into every goddamn thing. And it seems like maybe it's just for attention. I don't know. Or for fun, just to fuck with people. I don't know. I've been saying I'm for John Thune just because it seems like they hate him the most, even though he's completely inoffensive. So is John Cornyn. They hate both of them, actually. They hate both John Cornyn and John Thune. They see it as like them being stabbed in the back if either one of these guys get it. It's so dramatic, crazy. But anyway, hopefully the whole thing isn't a plot to try and get some nutcase into the cabinet, like Tulsi or RFK. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm hoping, if it were up to me, I would just make Tulsi ambassador to Syria. That would be her job. I'd be like, you've got what do you have experience at, Tulsi? Let's see here. Oh, you've got a good diplomatic relationship with Bashar al-Assad in Syria. Let's go. Let's see if we can open up an embassy there and go and drop your ass off there for the next 4 years. That might be fun. Anyway, that's all I really got. I'm not going to take too long on this one. Just sort of going over and saying, it doesn't look too bad compared to what it could have been. Why is Tulsi bad now? Tulsi's always been bad. Are you out of your mind? Tulsi is like, I don't know if she's a Russian agent, okay? But she's indistinguishable from one, is all I would say. Tulsi's a maniac. I'm pretty sure she's like, I don't know. She's against like any kind of American intervention at all, thinks it's all evil. Crazy person. Forgot what I was going to say about these other people. Oh, yeah, compared to his last administration. Okay, so it's not as good. In certain ways, I guess it's better. It's better for him because these people aren't, I liked the people in his last administration because they wouldn't just like try and change his mind and advise him. They would go around him and sort of work around him and try and work their own agenda in there, which you're not really supposed to do, right? You're not technically supposed to be doing that. That isn't really the right way to do the job. And so you're not kind of serving the president the way you're supposed to be. So none of these people are going to be doing that. They're not going to be trying to like force their own influence into it. At least I don't think in any way. I think that the way they will try and influence him, and the reason they'll be a good influence is because I think they've got all the right instincts. But they're just going to try and like get him to change his mind and change his own policies and not necessarily change his overarching agenda. But they'll maybe they will. That would be nice too. But I think they're going to try and like just advise him to go to a little bit better place than like J.D. Vance or Vivek Ramaswamy or Tulsi Gabbard would. You know what I mean? They're a much better influence than those people. And so far, we haven't seen any of the like just out and outright demons come up in there like them. So I think we're doing okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, Tulsi's wacky, man. She's like a complete. You just go look up some of the stuff she's done. Not to mention just going and having a picnic with Bashar al-Assad, who's a mass murderer. This is a man who like gassed his own people, hundreds and thousands of them maybe, with chemical weapons. And I don't know if she went as far to say that was fake. A lot of people like her in her sphere would say that he didn't even do that. That wasn't real. That was like the Kurds did that or the Americans or something stupid. And then there's the people, I guess Tulsi hadn't gone this way, but some of the people on the right wing that hate Ukraine are like, oh, all the Ukrainians are like Nazis, and Vladimir Putin is just trying to denazify Ukraine, and the Russians are the good guys. That's like Tucker Carlson, who apparently I guess he's still tight with Trump. I imagine he is. He's tight with all these people. He's probably like honestly the origin story of all the MAGA stuff is him. Really, it was Trump watching Fox News and getting this crap into his head from people like Tucker, Probably mostly Tucker. If I'm being for real, like that might be because Trump didn't just come up with all of this stuff on his own in 2016. He was watching, Fox, and he probably wasn't. I don't know. Is he a big radio guy? Maybe listening to Rush Limbaugh, but I don't even know that Rush. I never listened to him that much. I listened to him right before he died when the elections were like coming in. He was freaking out that Joe Biden was going to win. And before that, I don't know. I listened to him when I was a kid. But anyway, I'm just rambling about random right-wing commentators now. So I'm going to go ahead and log off here. But catch you later. Have a great night.